Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury Interviews. Today we have the founder of Media Concepts in Sudbury, a graphic designer by trade, and also a on the side awesome wicked guitar player. We have Leo Duquette with us today. How you doing, Leo?
I'm doing great, Danny, and yourself?
I'm doing just fabulous. So, what have you been up to?
Well, this has been the seasons of vacations for most people, so I've been trying to catch up. So tried to do that this during the holidays as much as I could. But like everybody else, I think I was getting sick. They're catching the flu from everybody. Too many people around us, I think.
What do the holidays mean for you? That's a side note thing, but I'm curious.
Well, I mean, I moved here in '86, so I mean, all my family's living in Kapuskasing now. So my wife here is my family, and so she's originally from Espanola, and but lately it's like the holidays. I've been trying to use it just to kind of catch up as much as I could with the work.
The media work?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. It changed a lot for me after the pandemic actually, because like I'm a graphic designer by trade. That's what I graduated for in '86, and I always kind of enjoyed doing photography and, and video, but never really went into it too much because I didn't really have all the equipment for it at the time. And then when the pandemic hit, I started working um, with people in Zilda there for a Cafe Heritage, and they were doing a lot of summer concerts uh, at the time. But because of pandemic, they couldn't do any of the stuff. So then suggested we just start recording it, putting it online. Uh, at that time, they wanted to do live stream stuff, but I just, I just wasn't quite ready for the live stream yet. It was still kind of in its an infancy. Well, not that it was an infancy, but people weren't using it regularly. So I just suggested we just record it. Then I could edit it and do a bit of better work after, and then put it online. So that kind of started opening doors as far as like people knowing that I could do video and photography. And myself being French, it just kind of snowballed after that. So a lot of people like didn't realize I did that stuff and started calling me for more of it.
So I'm gonna go ahead and ask you the obvious question with the new AI that's coming out.
Sure.
People make images in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So how does that look for you as a graphic designer, somebody who's skilled and knowledgeable in that area?
Well, it's kind of like a little double-edged sword. It kind of reminds me a bit of back at the time. Well, there's two things. I remember when the internet kind of started, and I remember this guy came to me, and he showed me the internet on my computer because in those days we were just doing stuff by like direct phone with the old modems there. And I remember him showing me a bit of what the internet could do, and I'm like, how are we going to make money with this? Because everything was free at the time. I didn't have the vision for it, and and it's kind of funny because I mean, I really do my living with the internet nowadays, so I just wasn't one of those ahead-looking kind of guys at the time. But then the other thing was like that kind of happened is when digital cameras started coming out, and especially when the phones started, being able to take photos. So everybody was like saying, "Oh, the phone's going to take over, and like all the photographers are going to lose money and whatnot." And it kind of did for a bit, but like anything else, you have to adapt. You have to take advantage of what's there, work with it, and you just kind of change your business model. Because with photography, like what happened is that the more people took photos with their phones, which was fine for a lot of quick stuff, but then they soon realized, oh, it doesn't look really as professional as I'd like it to. So it almost got to the point where they kind of appreciated more the photographers because of being able to
Yeah.
do stuff. So AI, I think, is going to kind of do the same thing. We're kind of in a situation right now. everybody's using it. It looks easy. Everybody wants to do a logo and stuff like that. But if you do a logo in AI, somebody else is going to try to do it, and then you end up with copyright issues as well later on because it's remember AI is kind of just taking what's available and on the
Hmm.
internet right now, so they might end up creating a logo that's already existing. So you got to watch it.
Oh, wow. That's such a great point of view.
Yeah.
I love that, man. You just like blew my mind there with that answer. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well,
That,
like you gotta adapt because graphic design, like it's things have changed so many times when I was doing it, and that's why it's kind of weird that that during the pandemic it ended up being it didn't really slow me down, just because I was working behind a computer anyways. I always said you can just shove me in a closet somewhere as long as there's a screen in front of me and I could keep working.
hmm. So this is going to add more value to the people who actually legitimately know how to do graphic design.
Oh yeah, it's a great tool at the same time. I mean, it's changed, it's made stuff a lot easier. You got to produce more though, and I find that's what's happening. Like I kind of feel bad a bit for the kids today because you got to keep up with technology constantly. I've kind of lived through transitions of it a few times already, so I kind of grew with it. But it's to the point now where I used to be on the bleeding edge when I was doing because I was like getting into the computer stuff and trying to do stuff that was new. But man, did it ever surpass me fast. There's kids can do so much nowadays, but
Hmm.
at the same time, they have to keep up with everybody else too. So it's tough and fun at the same time.
Wow, man, this is great. So you mentioned the internet in the early days. Like, how was
Yeah.
he showing you that, or what was he? How was he describing that to you?
Well, he was an animator doing 3D animation. Remember the company was called Canned Reality. I believe he lives in Australia now. But he was I just remember him saying like showing it to me and he was all excited. And like I said, at that time, I just remembered using modems, and because we used to have, I guess they're called bulletin boards at the time, where you would basically call in and you would kind of chat, I guess, but you were literally chatting with just a couple of people in the group, and then people were kind of just, they would help each other out with problems. But I guess he had a bigger vision of like what you could do with this. I was just narrowly thinking of what I could do with it at the time because the times I used to use it was just like I remember some guy from I forget, God, I think it was in South America. He was having a problem with something, and they sent him a file just to help him out. And he was like, "I can't believe this. You're from like a totally different continent, and you're helping me out. You're not even
Hmm.
asking for anything." And I'm like, to me, that's what I thought the internet was going to be, just you know, helping people out.
Yeah, wow, man. This is what we're going into the '90s here, right?
Yeah, yeah, it would have been
Yeah.
like early 90s, 92, 93.
Do you remember like MSN Messenger?
Yeah, yeah. I still remember the old CDs we used to get all the time there through the mail just to use online stuff.
So when you're out,
Probably still have one here somewhere.
yeah, when you're doing your media gigs and stuff, are you using a like a real video recorder and a camera, or you're not doing it with your phone, right?
No, I got a few different cameras there.
Hmm.
I used to always, I was always poor at the time, so I always tried to use what I could. You can almost technically get away with doing a lot of stuff with your phone nowadays because the quality's gotten so good.
Yeah.
But I have video cameras now. I use standard DSLR cameras, just like digital cameras. The thing I love about the DSLRs is you can attach lenses to it, and you can really get that film look with relatively inexpensive setup. But each camera has their advantages. I use a 360 camera sometimes as well because I do virtual tours, and I love the 360 because you can kind of replicate drone shots where you can't do drones, because I have a 10-foot pole that I stick it on,
Wow.
and you can really do some neat shots. And I just got the new one now that the quality is really good. So it's at least it's comparable now to the drone shots.
So you put a like a camera on a 10-foot pole, like a
Yeah.
super long selfie stick?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember because I used to do all the virtual tours for the Kinsman House. Like I think probably one of the first guys that ever did it at the time. And then because what I was trying to do is because with the drone, I like when I eventually ended up getting a drone, you almost have to be like the limit for a drone that we can use it is 400 feet. But the cheaper drones that I had, they don't really have a wide angle lens. So when you kind of fly up, you
Mm.
have to go quite high, like because nowadays everybody's doing like for selling houses, they're using the drones and stuff like that. But you have to have some of the better drones so that it actually has a bit of a wider angle lens, so you don't have to be so high. And but I actually found that with my 10-foot pole, the way the 360 kind of does it, it kind of really gives you a wide angle area. So I could do a lot of shots like that. Plus, you can't fly over people with a drone and stuff, and that's changed like aggressively just recently too. There, so the roads are getting more and more rigid.
Did you say you can't fly over people with drones?
You're not supposed to. You have to get a permit
Oh.
to do it because if your drone falls out of the sky and hits somebody, you're liable.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So
How are
I
these things controlled, these drones?
these drones, well,
Yeah.
you can get some of them. They're just operate with your phone. Uh,
What? No
oh
way.
yeah, yeah. It's scary. Like the one I have, you can. I think you can go up to like 2 kilometers with it. Uh, but you're supposed to always be able to see your drone. Have line of sight, they call. Uh,
Oh, okay.
but they're so small, and if I'm 58 years old now, so for me to see it, it's getting tougher. But they got some new ones now that are they're cheaper and they follow you and they have obstacle avoidance. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So this has been like an important tool for your business.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because like I
Mm.
said, the camera, the 360 camera, initially I bought it just for to do virtual tours. Because when you used in the old days when I started with the Kinsman House, to do virtual photo like a 360 photo, it would take me like 42 images with the camera, like going in a circle. Then you had software to stitch all the images together. Then
Oh,
you would put
yeah,
another
yeah.
software. Yeah, and it would literally take it would take you like a good 15 minutes to take the one room, and then you get home, you have to process everything in Photoshop and then stitch it together, and then that would take you sometimes like 4 hours, 3 4 hours per
Mm.
image just to do that. Now I just walk in, I slap the 360 on the stick, and when I get into the room, it clicks in 15 seconds. I get home and do some processing, but it's usually just to take the tripod out of it, and then you put it together with other software, and it's a lot quicker.
You know what, Leo? I think I know what you're talking about because I saw a video of the bare naked ladies guy
Okay.
on a train. He was on the holiday train last year.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool.
And he said, I'm going to explain to you how I'm filming these videos. And he has one of those 10-foot poles
Yeah.
in his hand. And then he said the software takes the pole out so you can't
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah. They call them invisible sticks, but I mean they're not invisible, obviously.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
it's it's pretty cool, and you can do some really neat effects. I haven't been using it too much. Like for the video projects that I've done, I've used it a couple of times. I recorded a band in town here where I did use some of it because you can get some cool angles. I shot as well at the university once. There was a symphony was playing, and then I ended up putting I had an older 360 camera that I put on the side, but the nice thing about it is you can shoot the whole event and then you could reframe it after. So, because you're recording everything, right? up,
Hmm.
down, side, whatever. And then what you can do is you can go back to the footage after and just almost use it like as if you're redirecting your camera.
So, um, let's talk about your music now. How did you
Sure.
get started with that? You're in a band, 21,
I
right?
am, yeah. Yeah, and
You're
I do
you're
do some single acts. I had some duo stuff too sometimes there when I just find we're getting more and more like everybody seems to be playing together there recently. But yeah, I started in college where I did uh, I did lights for a band years and years ago called Review, and that's how I kind of started getting into the music. I always kind of played guitar when I was young, but I just never really was, I learned two, three songs with three chords and that was it. Cause, and then, and as time progressed, what would happen is like whenever somebody would leave the band, I was so used to being in the front listening to them that I could hear the harmonies they were doing. So I ended up buying myself a microphone and I just started singing from the board,
oh
doing the
yeah.
harmonies. So, and then, eventually I just kind of weaseled my way on stage and then I never looked back.
You guys were playing at the Coulson for the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, not too often there, but once in a while there we'd get in there. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
a
fun
big
place to
one.
play.
A lot of
Yeah, it's the only place pretty much left. There's a couple of venues in town that have bands there, but it's not like what it used to be at all. That's for sure.
What do you think's going on with that?
Well, I mean, there's lots of things that changed throughout the years. Because I know I, in the late 90s, like they had stopped smoking in the bars, so that changed a bit. Um, so people were also saying that's why they were going less and less to the bars. My take on it more was when they switched the time from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. That to me I found made a big difference because because we would start like at 10, it's 10:30 to start playing. Whereas before, if you started at 9, a lot of people would go out, go for supper or whatever, or they would just quickly go to the bar. And then, if the band was starting earlier, they'd kind of go, oh, there's a band here. Oh, they're good. No, let's stick around. And they would stay a lot longer. But now I find like if you're starting at 10:30,
Hmm.
everybody I know they're in bed by 9 o'clock. So it's hard to get, even myself, like I find like if I have to get ready to go play, uh, I'm sitting in the living room, I'm kind of like getting the anticipation to go, but then you get tired of waiting.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I find it hard. I find it harder, and that's kind of why I'm kind of glad I'm doing some of the solo stuff as well now because it's like it's a lot earlier, so you're kind of getting the supper crowds, so they will stick around. Like they don't necessarily go out to listen to bands in restaurants because I think a lot of them don't know there are bands. But Sudbury Performance Group has been doing a great job there of just really introducing a lot of single acts and duos in the area.
Did you say the bars used to close at 1 a.m. and not 2?
That's right.
Wow, how far back is that?
It's got to be about 90, 92, 90, around the 90s, anyways, that's for sure.
Huh?
Because Quebec always had the bars till 2 a.m. So for them, I think that's what they were trying to hope to do to see if they could like make it, trying to make more money. But I don't know, things were just changing a lot. And then when pandemic hit, of course, that just totally changed everything. Like, because like whoever were bands probably stopped playing because they had no place to go. And and I think that's why some of the single acts and duos kind of start popping up because the restaurants were probably about the only thing we can kind of do, or little venues outside. It's just a lot easier to if you're alone, you could plug and then be away from people and play outside or whatever. So that changed a lot of things as well.
Wow, man, this is a great interview. I love it. You're a great talker, man. Very
Yeah, that's what
pleasant.
my wife keeps telling me to shut up. So it's the same thing.
You know what, man? I've been interviewing people my whole life. I just wasn't doing it on a podcast. Everywhere I go, I ask people questions because I'm really curious
Oh yeah.
about people
Well,
and
that's what
how
makes a
to.
great interview, when they're interested in the subject. So,
Yeah, so let's go to. I don't know if you've heard any of these, but there's a question I ask every guest. It's the same wording. Everything's exactly the same.
all right.
Okay, I'm going to ask you now. What is one thing that you feel would make Sudbury greater?
That's a weird one. What would make it greater? Well, I don't know, because I mean, like I said, I'm from Cap, and I've been here since '84, and I haven't moved since. So I like it a lot myself. The one thing they did do was the regreening project, which made a huge difference even for me.
Hmm.
Because I remember in college when I got here, I was at a what was it? I think it was a Burger King on the Kingsway, and I remember looking outside, and it was the mountains here were black. Everything was black still, and I remember looking outside the window, and I almost start crying, going, "What the hell am I doing here? This place is so ugly," you know. And but then they started doing the regreening a few years after that. But honestly, just the people here are just what ends up makes you stay here anyways. Like it's because there's people from all over the place here. Like there's tons of people from Kapuskasing, Hearst, Timmins, all the little areas around here, and there's even some people from the Ottawa that come down here, and they always tend to stay. So I don't know what would make it better. I don't know. Been talking about maybe the new arena and the new venues that they've been talking about might kind of rekindle the energy a bit more right now. Because like I find everything's being torn down. Uh, so I think we need something new to kind of rekindle everything.
Yeah, good answer. That regreening thing is a serious step forward that they took
Oh,
there.
it did because I've done some stuff for Science North as well. There, where I was doing some interactive media for them for some of their kiosks in the Science Center, and we had done one project like that where it was basically they were talking about the regreening. And it's insane, like when you see some of the old photos, because we would do like a back and forth photo of what the place used to look like before, and then with the regreening, you wouldn't recognize the place at all.
Hmm.
They did a great job with it.
How do you feel about the coming down of the super stack?
Um, I mean, I understand why they got to tear it down. I mean, it's gonna end up, if they did nothing, it would probably end up falling and killing so many people. So you definitely don't want that to happen. But it's sad in the sense that it's been an icon of the city for so long. I mean, it's funny because I actually took a couple of days off there, and my wife and I started watching Shoresies on TV on Creative there, and I hadn't watched it at all. But it's just so fun the way they're really representing Sudbury. Like they're not changing anything, in the venues where they go to, and they have all those like iconic places. But the sad thing right now is like, when they kind of walk in to the arena, you don't see the doghouse anymore. You don't see
Hmm.
the Old Rock Cafe. The restaurants that are down there. Every time they show the stacks, I'm thinking, "Phew, that's going to be gone already soon." So it's sad in that respect, but I guess times change. Gotta roll with it.
Hey Leo, I'm looking at your website. It's
Oh God, don't do that.
mediaconcepts.ca.
You know how they
Mediaconcepts.ca.
yeah. You know how they always say like, mechanics like they never work on their own cars, they work on everybody else's. Well, my site's a perfect example of that.
Well, I just want to mention my favorite bird. is the blue jay, and
Oh,
I got a blue jay tattoo on my arm this year,
oh,
or
nice.
sorry, last year in June of last year. And you have
Cool.
this extraordinary picture of a blue jay on your website.
Oh, thanks.
Now, what did you take that with?
Camera wise,
Yeah.
well, I just use Canons. It's a digital camera, DSLR, and but if anybody ever wants to get into cameras, like the thing that they have to realize is the lens is everything. Like
Yeah.
that's what's going to make your photo uh, look the best. And unfortunately, the better the photo is going to look is because the more expensive your lens is. Because you can kind of get away with a cheap body of a camera, and but the lens makes a big difference. Big difference. So in those particular ones, I use a zoom lens. Because obviously, with the birds, you can't get too close there.
Mm.
But it's and like if as far as like a technical spec of a camera, like one lens I have is a 70 millimeter to 200 millimeter, and but then I ended and that lens is probably I think I paid like $300 for it,
Just for the
and
lens.
just for the lens, which is cheap. And then but now I have one. It's still a 70 to 200 millimeter, but this one's what they call it 1.8. Uh, and then what that does is like because it's a bigger glass itself in the lens, so that's how you get that that blurry background in the photo
Yeah.
is from those lenses. And I mean that lens was $2,500. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, big difference. But once you get a good lens, you know, I got a whole series of old crappy lenses here on my desk here that probably cost me the same price as if I would have just bought the good lens to
So
start
that's
off.
not the camera, it's just the lens.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Oh
Wow.
yeah. But that's if you're doing a lot of photography and stuff like that.
Well, nice work, because
Oh, thank you.
I think these are great, really nice photos on here, and
Oh, thank you.
good job. So today we were talking with Leo Duquette, very talented guy. He plays gigs around town. If you ever want to watch him, it's quite entertaining. And I just want to thank you, Leo, for your kind words and your soft voice. I could listen to all day, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Is there any last thing you'd like to add before we get going?
Uh, I can't think of anything yet right now. I'm sure the second I hang up, I'll get say, "Ah, should have said this. I should have said that." But
You can come back
it's
anytime.
I find like you get older at some point, then you just I've heard people say that before, where they say they don't care anymore. I guess they don't care what they say as they get older. But I mean, if you've seen me play, I can screw up with the best of them. And when I was younger, used to like drive me nuts. But now it's like we make it a joke because I remember we're doing "Sweet Child of Mine" once, and I start playing. I was like, "Bleep, bleep, 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 bleep." And the singer comes up to me. She says, "Are you okay?" I said, "I don't know." I couldn't remember how to start the song to save me, and I finally got it. But I mean, we turned a bad situation to as if we had planned it all night type of thing. So, so you gotta take the good with the bad.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Leo.
All right, Danny, pleasure.
Take care, brother. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye bye.